Namaste students. Today we'll start our new chapter, that is classification of elements and periodicity in properties. In 1800 we have 31 elements, and at that time it was easy to study individually the chemistry of those elements. But in present scenario we have 118 elements, so it is quite difficult to study individually the chemistry of these elements and million of their compounds. Because of this, scientists felt a need of some simple method which simplify the study of the properties of these elements and their compounds. And this necessity leads to the development of the idea of classification of elements. Although the elements are differ from each other, but still some similar properties are present in the elements. And based on these similar properties, based on the similar properties which are present between the elements, scientists finally succeeded to classify the elements in group in such a manner that similar properties or the elements having similar properties are grouped together, whereas the elements with dissimilar properties are separated from each other. And this arrangement of the element is known as classification of element. This arrangement of the element in different groups, so that similar properties exhibiting elements are present in one group, and different properties exhibiting elements are far separated from each other. This arrangement of element is known as classification, and the classification led to the formulation of periodic table. So what is periodic table? Periodic table may be defined as a table. Periodic table may be defined as a table which classify the element on the basis of some similar properties, so that the similar property exhibiting elements group together, whereas the dissimilar properties elements are separated from each other. So this is the introduction of the chapter, that is why there is a need of classification of element, and after the classification of the element what we get, and that is the periodic table. Now we'll study the historical background of the periodic table, historical development of the periodic table. We'll study the historical development of periodic table. Now in 1808, if we talk about 1808, in 1808 Dalton proposed his atomic theory. In 1808 Dalton proposed his atomic theory. According to his atomic theory, an atom of one element can be distinguished from the other element with the help of their atomic weight. According to Dalton atomic theory, an atom of one element can be distinguished from the other element on the basis of their atomic weight, on the basis of their atomic weight. As a result of this, earlier classification of the elements were based on the atomic weight. Because of this concept of the Dalton atomic theory, all the earlier attempts for the classification of elements were based on atomic weight. I hope you all know that what is atomic weight. In second chapter we have cleared this point, that what do you mean by atomic number and what do you mean by atomic weight. So because of Dalton atomic theory, which was proposed in 1808 by the Dalton, and according to this theory, an atom of one element can be separated from the other element by their atomic weight. Therefore all the earlier attempts for the classification of elements were based on atomic weight. So we'll study the earlier attempts of the classification of elements one by one. First we'll study the Dobereiner triads. The first attempt towards the classification of element was made by Johann Dobereiner in 1817. In 1817, he arranged similar elements in group of 3 and showed that the atomic weight of the middle element is approximately the arithmetic mean of the other two. What he did, he arranged the similar elements. What he did, he arranged similar elements. He arranged similar elements in group of 3 and showed that what he showed, the atomic weight of the middle element is approximately the arithmetic mean of the other two, and the group of 3 elements is known as Dobereiner triads or law of triads. For example, he made a triad of 3 elements: lithium, sodium and potassium. Lithium, sodium and potassium. The mass of lithium, the atomic weight of lithium is 7, sodium is 23 and that of potassium is 39. Now he made a group of these 3 elements and showed that the atomic weight of the middle element is approximately equal to the arithmetic mean of the other 2 elements. So when 3 plus 7 plus 39 divided by 2, when I calculate the arithmetic mean of the other 2 elements, then this becomes 46 by 2 and that is equals to 23, and 23 is the atomic weight of the sodium. So he showed that the atomic weight of the middle element is approximately the arithmetic mean of the other 2. The second, let us take one more example so that it is more clear to you. Second one is calcium, strontium and barium. He made one more triad, that is of calcium, strontium and barium. We know that the atomic weight of calcium is 40, the atomic weight of strontium is 87.6 and the atomic weight of barium is 137. Now if we have to prove this triad, the arithmetic mean of these two is should come approximately equal to this. So 40 plus 137 divided by 2. Now it comes 177 divided by 2 and it is 88.5. So 87.6 and 88.5 approximately equal to each other. So Dobereiner triad was given by Johann Dobereiner in 1817. He arranged similar elements in group of 3 and showed that the atomic weight of the middle one is approximately equal to the arithmetic mean of the other two. But this concept or this concept of classification of element was discarded because this concept was applicable only for limited elements. After Dobereiner, the attempt was made by Newland. And he gave Newland law of octave. So second we will study Newland's law of octave. Now this law was given by John Alexander Newland in 1865. Now, in 1865, John Alexander Newland observed that when lighter elements are arranged in increasing order of their atomic weight, then the properties of every 8th element is similar to the first one. Clear? In 1865, John Alexander Newland observed that when lighter elements, means light-weighted elements, when lighter elements are arranged in increasing order of atomic weight. Why? Because these attempts were based on John Dalton atomic theory, and according to John Dalton atomic theory, atoms can be separated with the help of their atomic weight. That's why these attempts are on the basis of the atomic weight. So, according to this, when lighter elements are arranged in the increasing order of their atomic weight, the properties of every eighth element was similar to that of the first one, was similar to those of the first one. For example, at that time, we have not much amount of not much elements, we have limited amount of elements. So when Newland arranged the lighter elements like lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, then he arranged sodium just below the lithium. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sodium is the eighth element with respect to the lithium, and according to Newland, when the elements are arranged in the increasing order of their atomic weight, the properties of every eighth element was similar to those of the first one. It means the property of sodium is similar to that of the lithium, and it is similar to that of the lithium. So means law is correct. Magnesium, aluminium, phosphorus, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, potassium and calcium. Up to calcium, Newland arranged the elements in the increasing order of their atomic weight and observed that the property of every eighth element was similar to that of the first one. It means the property of sodium is similar to the lithium, and the property of potassium is similar to that of sodium, and in turn is similar to lithium. So here a group is formed in which all the elements have similar properties. Same in this case, same in this case, and same in this case. But this theory was also discarded because after calcium, because this theory was applicable for light-weighted elements, and after calcium, when the atomic weight increases, this theory was not applicable. And this theory was related to the musical notes also. Just like in musical notes, the eighth note is similar to that of the first note, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. So eighth is the sa note, and the first one is also sa note. So eighth note is similar to the first note. Similarly, the property of eighth element is similar to that of the first element. So this law was related with the musical notes also, but this law also failed because after calcium this law was not applicable. Now we'll move to our next law, that is Mendelev's periodic law. Mendelev's periodic law. Now in 1869, Dmitri Mendeleev used a broader range of the physical and chemical properties for the classification of element, and on the basis of these properties, Mendeleev proposed his periodic law, which is known as Mendelev's periodic law. In 1869, Dmitri Mendeleev used broader range of physical and chemical properties to classify the elements, and on the basis of these properties, these broader range of the properties, Dmitri Mendeleev proposed his periodic law, which is known as Mendelev's periodic law. Now according to Mendelev's periodic law, the physical and chemical properties of elements are periodic function of atomic weight. This is according to Mendeleev periodic law, and this one is important. So, according to Mendelev's periodic law, the physical and chemical properties of elements are periodic function of atomic weight. It means if we arrange the elements in the increasing order of their atomic weight, then the similar elements will come after certain regular interval according to Mendelev's periodic law. Now we'll study the Mendeleev periodic table. We'll study about the Mendeleev periodic table on the basis of the wider range of the physical and chemical properties of different element. Mendeleev designed a periodic table which is known as Mendeleev periodic table. Now, Mendeleev periodic table, just like a table, Mendeleev periodic table also consists of vertical rows as well as the horizontal rows. Now, the name of the vertical rows was given by Mendeleev was group, means the vertical rows was named as group, whereas the horizontal rows were named as series. The vertical rows in periodic table, Mendeleev periodic table, were named as groups, whereas the horizontal rows were named as series. In Mendeleev's periodic table, we have 8 groups designated from 1 to 8. In Mendeleev's periodic table, we have 8 groups, and these groups are designated from Roman 1 to Roman 8. Except 8th group, all other groups are further divided into 2 subgroups A and B. Except 8th group, all other groups are further divided into 2 subgroups A and B. These are the 2 subgroups which are present in a particular group. The elements which are written on the left hand side of a group, they constitute subgroup A, whereas the elements which are written on the right side of the group, they constitute the subgroup B. And in 8th group, we are talking about the Mendeleev periodic table. In 8th group of the Mendeleev periodic table, we have total 9 elements which are arranged in 3 sets of 3 elements. So, in Mendeleev's periodic table, we have vertical rows. These rows were termed as group. In Mendeleev periodic table, we have 8 groups designated by 1 to 8. Each group is further subdivided into 2 subgroups A and B. The elements on the left side constitute the subgroup A, whereas the element on the right side constitute the subgroup B. In 8th group, we have total 9 elements, and these elements are arranged in the set of 3 elements. Now, if we talk about horizontal rows, Mendeleev named the horizontal rows as series, and in Mendeleev periodic table, we have 6 series ranging from 1 to 6. Now, there is a special feature of the Mendeleev periodic table, and what was that? Mendeleev, when Mendeleev discovered this periodic table, at that time Mendeleev have only 53 elements. Means at that time we have only known elements that are 53. So Mendeleev arranged those 53 elements in his periodic table. But while arranging, Mendeleev left some spaces for future discovering elements. Means Mendeleev left some spaces wherever he felt necessary, and Mendeleev gave a bold prediction that the gap which was left by the Mendeleev, on that gap, after a certain in due course of the time, some of the elements will definitely be discovered in the future. Means Mendeleev, while preparing his periodic table, Mendeleev left some gaps in the periodic table and gave a bold prediction that in due course of the time, few elements were discovered, and those elements fill those blanks. And when the elements were discovered in the future, they fulfill the blank which was left by the Mendeleev's in his Mendeleev's periodic table. And Mendeleev not only left the place there, Mendeleev predict the properties of those elements which was not discovered at that time, and when they were discovered it was found that they have the same properties which were already predicted by the Mendeleev. For example, he predict the property of the gallium which he named as Aka aluminium. Means Mendeleev left the space for a particular element and he named the element as Aka aluminium and predicted the property of that particular element. In future, when that element was discovered, it was given the name gallium and it has the similar property which was predicted by the Mendeleev. So while making the Mendeleev periodic table, Mendeleev not arranged the different elements in the increasing order of their atomic weight, but he also left some spaces and predict that whenever the element was discovered for this space, that element exhibit this property. Now we'll study the properties, the merits of the Mendeleev periodic table. Now, merits or significance of Mendeleev's periodic table. So first significance of Mendeleev periodic table is this helps in the systematic study of elements. This table helps in the systematic study of elements. Because of a very large number of elements, it was very difficult to study the chemistry of each and every element individually. Therefore, this periodic table gives us a systematic way to study, a simple way to study the properties of each and every element. In Mendeleev's periodic table, Mendeleev classified the elements of similar properties in similar group. So by knowing the property of any one element in a group, we can easily predict the properties of other elements which are present in that particular group. So if I am talking about first group, in Mendeleev's periodic table we studied that we have 8 groups designated from Roman 1 to Roman 8. So if we talk about one group, in first group, if we have 6 elements, so by knowing the property of a single element, we can predict the properties of the other 5 elements. So Mendeleev periodic table provide a systematic way to study the properties of different elements and the compounds of those elements. Now, the second significance of the Mendeleev's periodic table was the prediction of new element. This also we have discussed earlier, that while arranging the elements in different places, Mendeleev left some space or left some gap, and Mendeleev predicted that in the future some elements were discovered which fulfill these gaps, and he also predicted the properties of those elements like gallium, which the name given by the Mendeleev was Aka aluminium. Gallium was discovered later on, and earlier Mendeleev left some space and named the element as Aka aluminium and predict the property also, which was exactly similar to the property of the gallium. Similarly, germanium, which was discovered later on, and it was named by Mendeleev as Aka silicon. So Mendeleev predicted new elements, and not only predicted the name of the new element but also predicted the properties of those elements on the basis of the position of those particular gaps. So this is the second significance of the Mendeleev periodic table. Now we'll discuss the third significance. Third significance is the correction of the doubtful atomic weight. Correction of doubtful atomic weight. Correction of the doubtful atomic weight. Now, before Mendeleev periodic table, the atomic weight atomic weight given to beryllium was 14.5. Before Mendeleev's periodic table, the atomic weight which is assigned to beryllium is 13.5 on the basis of its equivalent weight that is 4.5 and valency 3 on the basis of the equivalent weight 4.5 and valency 3. Before Mendeleev's periodic table, the atomic weight assigned to beryllium was 13.5. But if the atomic weight of beryllium is 13.5, then it should come in between carbon and nitrogen. But in Mendeleev periodic table, there is no place between the carbon and nitrogen. And the properties exhibited by the beryllium was entirely different from that position. Suppose if there is a position, first of all, there was no position in the Mendeleev periodic table between carbon and nitrogen. And suppose if there any position, then also the properties of beryllium is not similar to the property of that particular space. So it means the weight of beryllium is wrong. So when the valency of beryllium was assigned as 2, then its weight becomes 4.5 into 2, that is equals to 9, and it placed between lithium and boron, and the properties of beryllium matches the property of that particular space. So with the help of the Mendeleev's periodic table, we can able to correct the doubtful atomic weight. So Mendeleev's periodic table help in correcting the doubtful atomic weight just as it helped in the beryllium. Before Mendeleev's periodic table, the atomic weight for beryllium is assigned as 13.5 because of its wrong valency. That is 3, but its valency is 2. So when its valency is corrected from 3 to 2, then its atomic weight becomes 9, and it fit the place where the property of that place is exactly similar to the property of the beryllium. So these are 3 significance of the Mendeleev periodic table. Now we'll study the demerits of the Mendeleev periodic table. We'll study the demerits of the Mendeleev's periodic table, or drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table. Drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table. Now, what are the drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table? Now, the first drawback of the Mendeleev periodic table is anomalous position of hydrogen. Anomalous position of hydrogen. Now, if we look the Mendeleev's periodic table, in Mendeleev's periodic table, hydrogen is present in first A group, but the property of hydrogen is also similar to the elements of 7th A group. It means there is a controversy in the position of the nitrogen because its property is similar to first A group as well as to 7th A group. And because of this becomes a drawback of or demerit of the Mendeleev's periodic table. In Mendeleev, the hydrogen is placed along with the first A group element, but its properties also resembling the elements of 7th A group. Now, second one is the anomalous position of some elements. Now, If we talk about the base of the Mendeleev's periodic table, the base of the Mendeleev periodic table is the increasing order of the atomic weight. The increasing order of the atomic weight. But if we see cobalt and nickel in the 4th series and the 8th group and 4th series. If we see cobalt and nickel in 4th series, that is horizontal row, and 8th group. So the atomic weight of cobalt is 58.93 gram and the atomic weight of nickel is 58.7 gram. So according to Mendeleev periodic table, the cobalt should come after nickel because the atomic weight of cobalt is greater than that of the nickel. But in Mendeleev periodic table, cobalt is before the nickel. So this is that if we arrange the different elements in the increasing order of the atomic weight, then how cobalt will come first before the nickel, because it has to come after nickel and it come before nickel. Its atomic weight is 58.93 and here its atomic weight is 58.7. So this is our second drawback or second demerit. Now we will move our third demerit, that is position of isotopes. Position of isotopes. Now in our second chapter we studied that what are isotopes. Isotopes are the atoms of same elements having same atomic number but different mass number. Suppose for hydrogen we have 3 isotopes: protium, deuterium and tritium. Now if periodic table is arranged in the order of increasing atomic weight, then these 3 have different places. But in periodic table there is no such place for the isotopes. So in periodic table there is no place for the isotopes. Next we will talk about fourth one, that is some groups which are entirely different from each other. They are placed in the some elements which are entirely different from each other, they are placed in the similar groups, whereas some elements which are similar to each other, they are placed in the different group. For example, if I talk about first group, in first group lithium, sodium and potassium are grouped with copper, silver and gold. And we know that the property of lithium, sodium and potassium are entirely different from the properties of copper, silver and gold. So on what basis these elements are grouped in a similar group? Clear or not? If we talk about lithium, sodium and potassium, they are highly reactive metals, whereas copper, silver and gold are least reactive metals, least reactive element. These elements are entirely different from each other, and in Mendeleev's periodic table we get these elements in similar group. Similarly, if I talk about copper and mercury, copper is present in 1b group, whereas the mercury is present in 2b group, whereas these two elements have similar properties, but being similar property, these two elements are present in different group. So this one is fourth drawback of the Mendeleev periodic table, that some elements which are entirely different from each other, they are placed in similar group, whereas some elements which have different property, which have same properties, they are placed in different groups. And the fifth drawback of the Mendeleev periodic table is position of the elements of 8th group. Earlier also I told you that in 8th group we have 9 elements, and these 9 elements are arranged in 3 sets. So there is no particular criteria for arranging these 9 elements in 8th group. So this is also a drawback, a demerit of the Mendeleev periodic table. So we have studied Mendeleev periodic law, that that the physical and the chemical properties of elements are the periodic function of their atomic weight. Then we have studied about the Mendeleev's periodic table, then the merit or the significance of the Mendeleev periodic table and drawback of the Mendeleev's periodic table. Now we will move to our next topic, that is modern periodic table or modern periodic law. Periodic law. There was a scientist, Henry Moseley. There was a scientist, Henry Moseley. Henry Moseley in 1912 calculated the frequency of the X-rays emitted by the metals when bombarded with high-speed electrons. When metals are bombarded with high-speed electrons, the frequency of the emitted X-rays was measured by Henry Moseley, and Moseley discovered that the under root of the frequency of X-rays which was emitted by the metals when bombarded with high moving electrons, high speed electrons, that frequency depends on the atomic number of the metal instead of the atomic mass of the element. Means the frequency of the X-ray which was emitted, the square root of the frequency of the X-rays which was emitted by the metal, it depends on atomic number. So Henry Moseley concluded that, by this observation, Henry Moseley concluded that instead of atomic mass, atomic number is the better way or better base for classifying the elements. And this forms the basis of the modern periodic law. I'll repeat again. Henry Moseley in 1912 calculated the frequency of the X-rays emitted by the metals when bombarded with high-speed electron, and he discovered that the under root of the frequency of that emitted X-ray depends on the atomic number of particular element and doesn't depend upon the atomic weight. So Henry Moseley concluded that for the classification of the element, instead of taking atomic mass as a base, we will take atomic number as a base. Atomic number is better base as compared to the atomic weight, and this formed the basis of the modern periodic law. And what is modern periodic law? According to modern periodic law, the physical and the chemical properties of an element is the periodic function of its atomic number. So what is modern periodic law? According to modern periodic law, the physical and chemical properties of elements are the periodic function of atomic number. So this is modern periodic law. We have studied Mendeleev periodic law. In Mendeleev periodic law, the physical and chemical properties are the periodic function of atomic weight, but in modern periodic law, it is periodic function of atomic number. Now in both the laws, there is a term that is periodic function. Periodic function or periodicity means repetition of the property. Now, what is the cause of the repetition of the property? What is periodicity? Periodicity is the repetition of the property after certain interval of time, at a regular interval of time. So what is periodicity? Periodicity is the repetition of the properties at after a certain interval of time. Now we'll study that what is the cause of the periodicity. Now when a modern periodic table is discovered on the basis of the modern periodic law, on that periodic table we get to know that what is the cause of the periodicity or what is the cause of the repetition of the properties after a certain interval. So we will study here the cause of periodicity. The cause of periodicity. I hope periodicity is clear to you. What is periodicity? Periodicity is the repetition of the properties of element after certain regular interval of time. Now, why the properties are repeating after the certain interval of time? That is because of electronic configuration. In our previous video, in our previous chapter, we have studied about electronic configuration. When we talk about electronic configuration, those elements having similar outer electronic configuration, they have similar property. So the cause of periodicity is the repetition of the similar electronic configuration after certain interval of time. Repetition of the similar electronic configuration. Cause of periodicity is the repetition of the similar electronic configuration repetition of similar electronic configuration after a regular interval of time, that is a cause of periodicity. For example, if I talk about lithium, sodium and potassium. If I talk about lithium, sodium and potassium, the atomic number of lithium is 3, the atomic number of sodium is 11 and the atomic number of potassium is 90. Now, if I arrange the number of electrons of lithium, or I'll write the electronic configuration of lithium, it becomes 1s2, 2s1, Na, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. And if I talk about potassium, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6 and 4s1. So if I see the outermost configuration, this one is the outermost configuration for lithium, this one is the outermost configuration for sodium, and this one is the outermost configuration for potassium. Now, if I see the outermost configuration, the outermost orbital is s in all three cases, and that s contain only one electron. So there is a similarity in the electronic configuration of these three, and that's why these three belongs to the same group and these three have similar properties. So the cause of periodicity is the repetition of similar electronic configuration after certain interval of time. So on the basis of the modern periodic law and on the basis of the cause of the periodicity, in Bohr developed a table which is known as modern periodic table. So modern periodic table is also known as Bohr table because modern periodic table was discovered by Bohr. Now we will study the modern periodic table. Now we are going to study the modern periodic table. In modern periodic table, again, just like a table, we have both the rows, that is vertical as well as the horizontal rows. Now, if we compare the modern periodic table, with Mendeleev's periodic table, in Mendeleev's periodic table, the vertical rows are known as groups. In modern periodic table, the vertical rows are known as groups. But in Mendeleev's periodic table, the horizontal rows are known as series, but in this, the horizontal rows are known as periods. So, if we talk about modern periodic table, in modern periodic table, horizontal rows, if we talk about horizontal rows are known as periods, and we have 7 periods. And if we talk about vertical rows are known as groups, and in modern periodic table we have 18 groups. So horizontal rows 7 periods, vertical rows groups, and in a group those elements are present whose properties are exactly similar to or nearly similar to each other. Some of the properties may be differ from each other, but most of the properties are similar to each other. It means by studying the property of any one of the element, you can predict the properties of the other element of that particular group. And the cause of the periodicity, the cause of the repetition of the property is the repetition of the electronic configuration of these elements. Now we'll study the modern periodic table. We studied that we have how many groups? 18 groups, and we have 7 periods. Now we have name for these periods, and the name of these periods depend upon the number of the elements which are present in these periods, and the number of the element in a particular period is also decided by the number of the shells. How? Each period represent shell, means first period represent first shell, second period represent second shell, third period represent third shell, and so on. So if I talk about first period, first period represent first shell, that is K shell. Now we know that in K shell we have how many subshells? We have two subshells. Sorry, we have only one subshell, that is S, and S subshell contain only one orbital, and one orbital can accommodate only 2 electrons. So the number of electrons which will come in first shell are 2. Therefore, there is a place for only 2 elements. Therefore, in first period we have how many elements? We have 2 elements, and this period is known as very short period. This period is known as very short period. Now, similarly, if I talk about second period represents second shell, that is L shell. And L shell means how many subshells? 2 subshell, one is S and another one is P. S subshell, 1 orbital means 2 electron. P subshell, 3 orbitals means 6 electron. So the total number of electron becomes 8. Therefore, the number of elements are also 8. And this is known as short period. Now, if I talk about third period, listen it carefully, beta. If I talk about third period, now in third period we have third shell, and in third shell I have 3 subshells, 3s, 3p and 3d. So according to this concept, the total number of elements which can accommodate in third shell are 18, but the number of elements in third period are 8. Why it is so? Because if we remember Abhav principle, which we have studied in second chapter, the Abhav principle states that before 3D we have to fill 4s, means 3D will fill after 4s, means it will not fill along with 3s and 3p. So here only 3s and 3p will fill, and the number of electron becomes 8. Therefore we have only 8 elements in this period, and this is also known as short period. Now if I talk about the fourth period, fourth period means N. Now N means 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f. But if you see the periodic table, we have 18 elements in the fourth period. Why we have 18 elements? Because in fourth period we will fill 4s. After 4s we will fill 3d and then 4p. So in this we will not fill 4d and 4f. Why we will not fill 4d and 4f? Because the energy of 5s is less than 4d and 4f. So before filling 4d and 4f, we have to fill that 5s, and then we will fill 4d and 4f. So here we will fill 3d, 4s and 4p, and therefore 10, 12 and 18. The total number of electrons are 18. Therefore the number of elements are also 18, and this period is known as long period. Now, if I talk about fifth period, If I talk about fifth period means O. Now in this I have 5s, 5p, 5d, 5f and so on. But I have 4d and 4f also left. Now if I talk about 5s. Now the energy of 5s, if I talk about the energy of 5s, it is 5 plus 0, that is 5. If I talk about the energy of 4d, it is 4 plus 2, that is 6. If I talk about energy of 4f, it is 4 plus 3, that is 7. And if I talk about the energy of 5p, it is 5 plus 1, that is equals to 6. So first we'll fill 5s, then we'll fill 4d, then we'll fill 5p, and after this if I talk about 5d, what is the energy of 5d? The energy of 5d becomes 5 plus 2, that is equals to 7. So the energy of 4f is less than that of 5d. So after 5p I have to fill 4f. It means in this one I'll fill only 5s and 5p along with 4d. So in this I'll fill 4d, 5s and 5p. Therefore the number of electrons are 18. The number of elements are also 18, and this is also known as long period. But if I talk about sixth period, then in sixth period I'll fill F also. Means along with, in first I'll fill only S, in second and third I'll fill only S and P, in fourth and fifth I'll fill S, P, D, and in sixth one I'll fill S, P, D as well as the F, that is 4F. 4F I also have to fill here. So the number of electron becomes 32, and therefore the number of elements are also 32, and it is known as very long period. And if I talk about the seventh one is known as incomplete period, because this is the period which contain natural as well as the synthetic elements. This period contain natural as well as the synthetic elements. So this is all about the periods. Now if I talk about groups, in the long form of the periodic table, the elements are divided into 4 groups or 4 blocks. Means the groups are divided into 4 different blocks. These are S, P, D and F. Means groups are divided into 4 different categories: S block group, P block group, D block group and F block group. Now if I talk about that, what is the basis behind this division? The base behind this division is the entry of the outermost electron in that particular orbital. Means on the basis of the name of the orbital in which the outermost electron will enter, the groups are divided into 4 categories: S, P, D and F. First, if I talk about S block. Now S block means S subshell. In S subshell we have only one orbital, so there is a place of 2 electrons, and that's why we have 2 groups in S block. Why we have 2 groups in S block? Because in S orbital we have only one orbital. In S subshell we have only one orbital, and one orbital can accommodate only 2 electrons. Therefore we have only 2 group in S block, and the general electronic configuration is NS1 to 2. Now in S block we have 2 exceptions. What are those 2 exceptions? First one is helium. Though the electronic configuration of helium is 1s2, but it is not present in the S block. It is present along with the noble gases because its outermost orbital is fully filled. Means outermost orbital is fully filled, that's why it belongs to noble gases. But because it has outermost orbital S, so it has to belong with S block, but because of fully filled orbital it belongs to noble gases. And second exception is hydrogen. Now, though the hydrogen is present with the first group, but due to its capability to attract electron, to accept an electron, it resembles the halogens also, and that's why the position of the hydrogen is controversy. So these two are exception in S block. Now, if I talk about second, that is p block. If I talk about second p block, now p orbital. P orbital means p subshell. In p subshell we have 3 orbitals and each orbital accommodate 2 electrons. So the number of electron becomes 6. Therefore, we have total 6 groups. We have total 6 groups and the electronic configuration, the general electronic configuration of this group is NS2 NP126. We know that if we want to fill 5p, first we have to fill 5s. If we want to fill 3p, we have to fill 3s. Means before filling any p orbital, s should be filled. That's why NS2 and NP126. This is the general electronic configuration of p and p block elements. Now, if we talk about S and P block elements simultaneously, the elements of S block and P block are collectively known as normal elements or representative elements. Normal elements or representative elements. So the elements of these two blocks are collectively known as normal elements or representative elements. Now we'll move to our third block, that is D block. We'll move to our third block, that is D block. Now in D block, now what is D block? In S block we said that the outermost electron will fill in the S orbital. The electron will fill in the outermost S orbital. In P block we said that the last electron will fill in the outermost P orbital. But in D block we said that the coming electron will fill, the last electron will fill in the penultimate D orbital, means in the D orbital of the penultimate subshell. Now here is the term, that is penultimate subshell. Penultimate subshell. Now what is the meaning of penultimate subshell? The subshell which is present before the outermost subshell or the outermost orbital is known as penultimate subshell or penultimate orbital. So in D block, the electron, the coming electron or the last electron will not enter in the outermost orbital. It will enter in the penultimate orbital or penultimate subshell. That's why the electronic configuration, the general electronic configuration of D block element is N-1, D 1 to 10, NS 1 to 2. This is the general electronic configuration of the D block element. N-1, D 1 to 10, NS 1 to 2. Now in this, the coming electron will enter not in this, because this one is the outermost orbital. The electron will enter in the penultimate subshell, means this subshell. That's why it is termed here the outermost electron if enter in the penultimate subshell or in the d orbital of the penultimate subshell, then the group is known as D block. Now in D block we have 4 series and the D block elements are known as transition elements. The D block elements are known as transition elements. Why these are known as transition elements? Because these elements are present between metals and non-metals. So while moving from left to right, metals start converting into non-metals. So metals get transferred into non-metals. That's why these elements are known as transition elements. And in D block, we have 4 transition series. We have 4 transition series and each transition series contain 10 elements. Each transition series contain 10 elements. Why each transition series contain 10 elements? Because in D we have 5 orbital and 5 orbital means total 10 electrons. Therefore, each transition series has 10 elements. So D block D block is that block in which the electron will enter in the penultimate subshell. D orbital of the penultimate subshell electronic configuration is this. The elements which are present in the D block are known as transition elements, and we have 4 transition series, and each transition series contains 10 elements. Now we'll talk about which block? The last block, that is F block. We'll talk about the last block, that is F block. F block. Now in F block, the coming electron, the last electron will enter in anti-penultimate shell. Now here the term is anti-penultimate subshell. In an anti-penultimate subshell. Now what is anti-penultimate subshell? A subshell which is present before the penultimate subshell. What is penultimate subshell? Which is present before the outermost subshell. What is anti-penultimate subshell? Which is present before the penultimate subshell. Means if my outermost orbital is 6, then penultimate subshell belongs to 5 and anti-penultimate subshell belongs to 4. So in this, the electron will enter in any 7 of the f orbital but of anti-penultimate subshell. And the general electronic configuration of this is n-2 f. Why it is n-2? Because it is anti-penultimate. Anti-penultimate means outer, then penultimate, then anti-penultimate. So basically, if n is 6, so when I subtract 6, when I subtract 2 from 6, then only I get the 4. So n-2 f 0 to 14, n-1 d 0 to 1 ns2. So this is the general electronic configuration for F block element. So in S block element, the electron will enter in the outermost s orbital. In P block element, the electron will enter in the outermost p orbital. In D block, the electron will enter in any of the d orbital of penultimate subshell, and in F block, the electron will enter in any of the f orbital of anti-penultimate subshell. S block elements are all metals. They are known as alkali metals and alkaline earth metals. If we talk about P block, S block and P block, both are collectively known as normal elements or representative elements. If I talk about D block elements are known as transition elements. And if I talk about F block elements are known as inner transition elements, or transuranic elements. Why these are known as transuranic elements? Because they follow uranium. That's why they are known as transuranic element. So in this way, we'll divide the groups of the periodic table into 4 blocks: S, P, D and F. Students, that's all for today. I'll see you in my next video with new topics.